Good morning, everyone. Today we're starting out with a special request in honor of Dick and Judy Gammon's 69th anniversary. So a happy anniversary to the Gammons. And in honor of their anniversary, I'm going to be playing Waltz in A minor by Frédéric Chopin.
Okay, please stand and let's sing. Just as long as I have breath, and we'll be singing 2 verses. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Good morning. Welcome everyone to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where we join together to create a nourishing liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world, or as we like to say in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. And welcome to each and every one of you. It's so good to have you with us. As always, we embrace all that you come with, all of your unique beliefs, background, lifestyle, experiences, differences, all that helps make you who you are is welcome. And this includes those of you who are regular attendees as well as those who are joining us for the first time or at least visiting from out of town. It's great to have some friends here, my cheering section this morning. Yeah. And all of those who are live streaming with us as well. It's great to have all of you. So welcome to one and all. I do need to point out that our unity candle is lit at the front of our church. This is something we do when we've lost one of our members, and sad to notify you if you haven't heard already that Marshall Peterson passed away a couple weeks ago. Marshall, for those who knew Marshall, wonderful, friendly, funny person who the only annoying thing about him was that he would often make some crack in the middle of my sermons. And I'm going to miss that. But Marshall was suffering from some illness and pain that he'd been going through for a while, and so that much is over for him. But we want to keep this lit throughout our service today in honor of his light and his life and his humor. Today is our annual meeting after this service, so hopefully those of you who are voting members will stick around. We have at least a couple of matters we need to attend to, like electing new board officers and passing our annual budget, so appreciate that. And as I've been talking about now for several weeks, our One Parish, One Prisoner team is offering a lunch as a fundraiser for that program. And so for a donation of your choice, you will be able to have lunch, and you can, I think it's a kind of an easy grab and go lunch, right? So if folks want sandwiches and whatnot, so you can come in here and eat it if you want or whatever. But thank you to the team for doing that, and more importantly, thank you to the team for what you're doing through that ministry, in which we will end up supporting somebody who will be recently released from prison as she tries to be able to find a meaningful life after what she's been through. Now, this is going to be the hottest day of the year so far. I think it's going to cool back for a couple of days, but summer is officially here. And I'm going to encourage all of you to consider finding some spot in the world that you would like to go to and get away and enjoy the summer for a little bit. So, for example, a place I've never been that I'm really looking forward to trying is the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for Performing Arts. Yeah, I've never been to the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts before. I have no idea what might even be showing at the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. But I just can't wait to go to the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for Performing Arts. All right. On that happy note, let's take a few moments to greet one another, say hi to some old friends, and meet some new ones today, please. Well, you guys sound like you're ready just to get right to business this morning. Well, there'll be time instead to grab lunch and a cup of coffee afterwards, but we'll have our meeting shortly after the service ends today. So let's move on now by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
I remember the late Massachusetts Congressman Barney Frank and his trenchant remark about anti-abortion zealots. The problem with right-to-lifers, Barney said, is that they seem to think that right to life ends at birth. Representative Frank, of course, was the nation's most prominent gay politician. He won a re-election 12 times before leaving Congress, and he died in May, just last month, at age 86. Good to remember him on this Pride weekend. His notable career focused not only on stricter banking and financial regulations, but on expanding women's rights to bodily autonomy. He sponsored a bill to provide emergency contraception for servicewomen on military bases, another to expand preventive care to help reduce unintended pregnancy, and yet another in 2007 that hoped to revive the Equal Rights Amendment. Frank saw women's reproductive rights as constitutional rights, but he lived to see the U.S. Supreme Court strike down those rights in its 2022 Dobbs decision. The Dobbs ruling was shocking. While the court had overturned its own precedents many times in the past, legal scholars and historians had explicitly, in this case, revoked for the first time in U.S. history an established fundamental constitutional right. Barney Frank was a few years older than me, but we've shared the same trajectory of American history. Until recently, I was optimistic about our social progress as a country. When Roe v. Wade was decided in 1973, I was a journalist and a young mother with a 3-year-old and pregnant with my second daughter. I had attended college in California, where birth control was only available to married women. In the 1970s in Spokane, I had a TV show on PBS, but still could not obtain a credit card or buy a car without my husband's signature. But times were changing due to the women's rights movement, and I'd already seen major social progress while working as a congressional intern to pass the 1965 Civil Rights Act. But now, of course, the Supreme Court has taken a wrecking ball to that legislation as well, threatening minority representation nationwide. The 2022 Dobbs decision has been devastating, according to the Guttmacher Institute. The religious right is on a tear in Trump's second term, and it's trying to make it worse by blocking access to medical abortion, criminalizing interstate travel to obtain abortions, and imposing a nationwide ban. So now, instead of a constitutional right, we have a chaotic national patchwork with 13 states enforcing total bans and others forbidding abortion as early as 6 weeks. The people who travel out of state for abortions has doubled, but many states are trying to criminalize the right for travel and target the people who help them. Idaho, our neighbor, and Tennessee have already enacted anti-travel bans but face court challenges, including from Washington state. Montana legislators also tried this year, but that effort failed. So overall, what are the overarching consequences of Dobbs? Loss of bodily autonomy for women, increasing threats and burdens on marginalized people, including immigrants and women of color, and broader threats to privacy rights, such as using AI to track women's travel, plus a vast, fully funded ICE surveillance system to intimidate and imprison immigrants. So as our 250th anniversary as a nation approaches next month, We must restore hope in our future and remember the goal of the Declaration of Independence to ensure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Republicans who install the current court majority and who seek to control women's bodies are the same people who have slashed Medicaid, closed rural hospitals, censored library books, opposed funding for early childhood education, and in some extreme cases, even opposed birth control and the right of women to vote. Reverend Todd will speak further today about what the term right to life really means.
Okay, let's please stand and sing, Comfort Me.
Thank you so much. We're now going to kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our hearts and minds. And congratulations to the Gammons again for your big anniversary. Was it 69 years? 69 years. Wow. Congratulations. I also got word this week that Bill and Vern Prouty are also celebrating their anniversaries actually today, and 73rd. So I think Bill and Vern watch on our live stream, so if you are, congratulations. Also a major milestone. And we will, of course, light candles on behalf of people all over the world who are suffering from unnecessary war and violence and other injustices, including the people of Ukraine, Russia, Palestine, Israel, Darfur, South Sudan, Iran, and a kindle for the immigrants in our own nation who are undergoing a period of injustice and fear themselves. Let's take a moment of silence on behalf of others that you might be thinking of, and as always, you're welcome to name them aloud at this time if you like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. And we now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which helps sustain this community and our mission to the larger world.
Thank you, Jackie. So for this morning's Time for All Ages, I have a responsive reading, and all you need to know for the response are 2 words. Thank you. Let's try it. Thank you. This is a recognition of volunteers, and it is by J. Libby. When there was a need, you came forward.
Thank you.
In the nighttime and daytime, on weekends, and even in the coldest, darkest part of the year, you helped.
Thank you.
Elected and duly appointed, or quietly, anonymously, and unbidden, you did what needed doing.
Thank you.
Sometimes with the help of many hands, other times alone, you worked.
Thank you.
You gave your time, your talent, your treasure for the life of the congregation. Your families and loved ones supported you in efforts, worried for you when things piled up, and perhaps grumbled at you for the extent of your commitment.
Thank you.
For all things great and small you have given this congregation, we take time to recognize today and to
Thank you.
And I have a special thank you to Katie Willard and Lynn Janishian, she's around this morning. But these 2 have committed to monthly volunteer gigs with religious education. Lynn has spearheaded our Reading Across the Lifespan program, and Katie just brings so much fun and joy every Sunday that she's in the room. And we've taken that joy outside to our community garden the last couple of months, and we're eager today to see what's growing, right, Katie? If you are looking for a way to get involved with religious education, Play Club is a great opportunity. We start our Play Club next Sunday, June 21st, and we take our children's programming outside. And you and a friend can sign up together, enjoy your cup of coffee in the gazebo, while the children enjoy the great outdoors. And you're just there in case of a true emergency. Otherwise, you are letting the kids do their best work as players. There is a sign-up genius that you can access through the Sun, and there will be a paper sign-up at the welcome table as well. So please let me know if you have questions about Play Club, or if there are other ways you'd like to get involved by donating snacks or buying a book from our wish list at the Wishing Tree. So one more time.
Thank you.
And now join me in singing.
No, I'm going to get you one more time.
Oh, time.
Because we can't let you get away with that without thanking you. And Stephanie has been, I think as a supervisor of staff, everyone in that position sort of has a dream staff. And as hard as it is to make changes over the years, we have the staff I always wanted, and you included, as an RE director. And what I just so appreciate about you is, one, the joy and love that you talk to others have. You have too, for sure. But in addition to creating a really edifying program for our kids, you created a program that brings them a lot of respect as individuals. And you created a program that they enjoy. It's fun to come to church. When you have kids who drag their parents to church on Sunday, you've accomplished something. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
As we enter into meditation today, find a comfortable position and reflect on these words by Frederick Douglass, the eloquent anti-slavery fighter who became the nation's most important civil rights leader of the 19th century. Find out just what any people will quietly submit to, and you have the exact measure of the injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them.
it's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no, or a girl who makes potions in a traveling show. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody that this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put it down in words. How wonderful life is, now you're in the world. Life is, now that you're in the world.
Just beautiful. Thank you both so much again. Perfect for this sermon, too. So I'm going to begin by offering my personal opinion about abortion. And the best I can say about it is that it is a terrible choice to have to make. I believe that it ought to be a woman's right to make it, but I do not believe it should be taken lightly, nor that abortion should be considered a method of birth control. I value the potential lives of those not yet born so greatly that I also strongly support sex education, easy and affordable access to birth control, and planning for parenthood, so that this terrible choice is not one that many have to face. I also value personal freedom and feel just as strongly that we ought to guarantee a woman's right to choose whether she wishes to remain pregnant or not, up to a point. Although I do not consider all life sacred, not even all human life, I do hold great reverence for all of it, especially human life. This is so because sacred comes from an old French verb meaning to make holy or to consecrate. So it refers to nothing that is innately true about that which is consecrated, but refers only to the feelings and beliefs of those who consecrate it. This attitude then may vary from group to group or from person to person, and is no more than a projection onto the sacred object of one's subjective experience or feelings about it, which again may indicate nothing that is objectively true about the object of worship itself. So, quick example, just because someone thinks a totem pole is God does not make it God. That worked. I guess I could have just said that. I complicate things so much. Nevertheless, reverence, I shall continue to complicate them. Reverence, on the other hand, comes from the Latin word reverere, meaning to stand in awe of. In English, its definition is to regard with deep respect and veneration. So this word then clearly says something about the projector rather than that which is projected onto, the subject rather than the object. That I hold great reverence for life, especially human life, says something about me, not about life itself. My feelings toward life, that is, may reflect nothing that is objectively true about it. I am simply a person who regards life with deep respect and veneration. So what does seem objectively true about life is that nature treats it with tremendous disregard. Firstly, there are far more prey animals than there are predators. Predators could not have evolved if this were not the case. Predators must continuously eat new prey animals throughout their entire lifespans, which means a one-to-one balance will not work in our world. A single owl, for example, eats thousands of mice over its lifetime. A little brown bat may consume as many as 4,500 insects per night. So in order for both predator and prey animals to coexist, not like the bumper sticker on the back of your car either, prey animals must vastly outnumber predators, which they do. And owls and bats, of course, are not the only predators prey animals must worry about. At any given time, there are 3 times the number of livestock animals alive on Earth than there are human beings. We are Earth's apex predator. So that's inference number 1. Whether we subjectively hold reverence for life as I do or consider it sacred, as those who call themselves pro-life claim they believe, objectively speaking, we live in a world that is extraordinarily hostile towards life. Inference number 2 is that we live in a world that aborts far more life, or at least the potential for life, than it could possibly bring to fruition. This is to guarantee that at least some potential lives, an incredibly small portion of them, will survive the brutalities of existence, at least long enough to produce more offspring. A couple of years ago, for example, a pair of robins built a nest on our porch. 4 hatchlings soon emerged. And at one point, a couple of crows attempted to raid that nest. They failed. But it ended up turning out that that nest was made large enough only to accommodate 2 growing chicks. 2 of them were eventually pushed out of the nest, plummeting to their deaths. Pushed out by their siblings, plummeting to their death. Now, if this is the norm, if it represents an average, it means that robins hatch roughly twice as many chicks as survive, if the crows don't get all of them. In nature, this is similar to most animals, those that lay dozens to thousands of eggs and those that give live birth to relatively large broods or litters. Over the course of their existence, plants and trees also produce far more seeds and fruit than will ever become plants, more new plants or trees. A single oak tree can produce 10 to 20 million acorns during its relatively long life, few of which grow into trees, partly because of all those innocent little prey animals that eat them. Likewise, a human male produces about 100 million sperm per ejaculation, but thankfully doesn't produce 100 million kids, or anywhere near it, nor does an infinitesimally small fraction of each woman's approximately 350,000, eggs result in a birth. Thank goodness. Like all creatures, Humans also have an expiration date. We live long enough to bear and raise children, then we begin to grow old until we eventually succumb to heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer, or some other fatal illness that gets us. Talk about feeling used. I could go on with this chain of thought, but my point is that no matter how sacred we consider life or how much we revere it, the reality is that nature wastes more life than it produces. Guarantees us only a short life of fear, predation, and an agonizing death for most creatures, and has assured that we're all going to die no matter how much we yearn to go on living. Bottom line, our attitudes about the abortion issue, along with those of a similar vein, like the death penalty or medically assisted suicide, are rooted in our subjective feelings as human beings, not in the minds of our gods, nor the objective moral truths that we project onto them. Of course, there's nothing wrong with approaching the world from a human perspective. That's the only perspective we can approach it from. But we ought to do so knowingly, rather than treating our perceptions, I should say, as if they are based on some sacred or absolute truth that we then wish everyone to agree with and adhere to. Still, those in the pro-life movement say that life is sacred and believe that they are acting on behalf of their Christian God by protecting the unborn from abortion. Yet there is nothing in their scriptures supporting this position. There are, on the contrary, stories in their scriptures in which God calls for his followers to kill everyone, every last man, woman, and child, and animal. Indeed, one of their most sacred stories, one that they tell their children as if it were a pleasant fairy tale, is the story of the flood, in which a genocidal God wipes out almost every person and every creature living on the planet. Nor is there anything among the teachings of Jesus that call for his followers to preserve life at all cost. He does not speak about creating, or I should say, he does speak about creating an abundant life for those who are alive, which he demonstrated by feeding the poor, healing the sick, embracing the outcast. He also said that there is no greater love than to give one's life for others, indicating that some things are more important than life. He certainly didn't make an idol of life like today's pro-lifers do. In fact, Christianity's main symbol, the cross, sometimes with Jesus still hanging on it, represents his own such sacrifice and execution. And according to the scripture, his death was itself a type of abortion. The Father sent his one and only Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Where then is this contemporary dogmatism about abortion coming from? It is dogma that has no basis in the Christian scripture or tradition. But as a former fundamentalist Christian myself, I believe it is compensation for a failure to adhere to Jesus' actual life-affirming example and teachings, and for Christianity's historic and continuing disregard for human welfare and human life. Jesus never spoke of the unborn, let alone indicated that our commitment to the welfare of others ends when we're outside the womb. He spoke about creating an abundant life and establishing heaven here on earth by caring for the welfare of those who have been born, by feeding them, by healing them, and including them. Everything they need, not only to survive, but to thrive as human beings. If pro-life advocates genuinely care about life, why is it that they aren't as incensed about the lack of gun control laws in the U.S. as they are about wanting stricter abortion laws? Why is it okay to restrict a woman's right to choose whether she will remain pregnant, but not okay to restrict a man's right to own a military-style assault rifle, the kind frequently used to slaughter children in their classrooms, among others living on this side of the womb? Why is it okay to defund and shut down clinics that offer women's health care, prenatal care, contraception, sex education, and abortion for those who choose it, but not okay to take away those guns that are being used to kill people on our streets and in our homes and in our schools and in our businesses? Why is it okay for our partisan Supreme Court to turn the matter of abortion over to the states, but to insist the right to own weapons, unlike any weapon that ever existed when this country was founded, is a nationwide constitutional right? Where are they when it comes to protecting the lives of the living from the deadly and destructive consequences of global warming? An undeniable reality that they not only neglect but continue to deny, attempting to gaslight the rest of us, while also blocking us from doing anything meaningful to turn this lethal situation around. Where are they when the resulting fires burn down entire communities? Where are they when rivers of rain fall so quickly and unexpectedly that they drown our children asleep at summer camp? Where are they when the President of the United States forcibly separates children from their families and puts them in cold cages on a concrete floor? Where are they when 50% of those living in poverty on the streets of Gaza are children? Where are they when bombs drop on those streets, killing scores of innocent civilians, mostly children, in a ruthless act of vengeance and retribution? Where are they when it comes to ensuring the children born in this country have adequate food, shelter, clothing, and security? Where are they when it comes to ensuring they have adequate health care? To ensuring their parents can afford to bring them into this world? Where is their concern for life and for the living in such matters as these? A few years ago, I was dropping something off at a local Planned Parenthood and was approached by a so-called pro-life advocate in the parking lot, and after telling me that abortion is sin, I asked, "Then you must be in support of birth control, sex education, and planning for parenthood." "Well, we're for abstinence-only birth control," she said. Such contradiction, if not hypocrisy, is why I conclude their dogmatic obsession with abortion, which requires them to put no real skin in the game, is but a ruse to convince others, but mostly to fool themselves that they are good Christian people doing their religious duty to do what Jesus instructed: protect the lives of the unborn, which he never instructed. Rather, if Jesus were alive today, my guess is that he'd be risking his life on the streets of Gaza, or in Iran, or with worried parents who can't afford to take their sick child to a doctor, or with anyone else whose life and livelihood is being diminished by neglect, cruelty, and injustice. Born is not enough. If people want to follow Jesus, then do as Jesus did: feed the hungry, heal the sick, care for the poor, welcome the outcast. That's what it means to be pro-life. That's what it means to be pro-life. It's not about unborn American fetuses, but about the welfare of every living person on this planet and for the welfare of the planet itself, which sustains all life. Yet as I began, I also believe abortion is a terrible choice to have to make. I believe this is so because I care more about human potential than I do about human life. I'm going to repeat that again. I care more about human potential than I do about human life. I agree with social psychologist Erich Fromm, who said the whole meaning of life is to develop into the individual one potentially is, and that the duty to be alive is the same as the duty to become oneself. Not everyone gets to become oneself. Too many of us waste our lives either because we don't realize it's about finding and fulfilling some greater purpose and calling, or because our social systems are such that we must spend our lives pursuing our most basic needs, and we have little energy, little time, little resources left to concentrate on anything else. Aborting our potential, or maintaining social systems that require too many of us to abort such potential, that's the real sin. And this is another human reality human societies prefer not to face. Instead, we tell ourselves that life is about growing up, getting a job, and spending our lives working to pay our bills. That's often what becomes the meaning of our lives. But this shouldn't have to be. This kind of life only addresses the bottom half of Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, often inadequately at that. It doesn't promote the upper part of the pyramid, reflecting our need to fully unfold as individuals by finding love and finding belonging and self-esteem and purpose, and to strive not just to get by, but to find meaning beyond ourselves in service to others and in service to life. As a first principles thinker, I don't value life for the sake of life itself. I ask what life is for, and thus value it for its potential. And I consider it tragic if such potential is lost for any reason, due to premature death, poverty, oppression, depression, murder, war, the chronic struggle to make simple ends meet, and yes, because of abortion. In my mind, when a zygote is formed, human potential exists. And the loss of such potential at any phase of its existence is tragic. So I have this small baby Mickey Mouse here that is nearly 36 years old. And I bought it for our baby soon after we learned Peggy was pregnant with our first child. And I remember how excited we were to hear its heartbeat after just 6 weeks. A heart that was full of human potential. And just a couple days later, Peggy had a very painful miscarriage and had to be rushed to the emergency room for a DNC, which in clinical terms means to remove tissue from the uterus. And that little flicker of life, it turned out wasn't viable. Not any more than the millions of sperm and hundreds of thousands of eggs that missed their chance at the opportunity at life in favor of that failed pregnancy. But I still keep baby Mickey where I can see him every day as a reminder of the human potential that ended 36 years ago. Sometimes I pick him up and I wonder whose unforgettable heartbeat I heard so long ago might have become. And Also know that if that pregnancy had lasted, that the 2 children we do have would not have been born, and I can't imagine our life without them. Still, I sometimes wonder if multiverse theory is correct, if there is a world out there where our first child was born and is alive, and what kind of life they're living, and what kind of life I'm living because they're in it. I didn't get through that any better the second time than I did the first time. So I'm gonna come back and say a little bit more, but I want to play a song. This is from one of my newest AI albums, and regardless of what people feel about AI, I love it because it allows me to find another venue to discuss the things that I care about, and this is an issue I care a lot about. So this is called Where Were Those Heroes Then? And you can see the lyrics on the screen, so if you have trouble hearing, you can understand what it's saying as well.
You shout about the unborn. When the water's poison, future sold for gold. Where are these heroes then? When the mother chooses heat or to catch a cold. You raise your hands in judgment, not to lift your neighbor up again. Tell me, where are these heroes then? Then.
Yeah, says it all, doesn't it? Born is not enough. That's where the pro-lifers get it wrong. Life isn't about being born, nor merely breathing and having a heartbeat. It's about becoming. It's about realizing our potential as individuals and as a species. And that's the point that I think many of us miss, regardless of what side of this issue we're on. Thank you.
Okay, let's please stand and sing together. How could anyone?
I leave you today with the words of Adrian Rich, the poet. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.